In 1969, a Japanese company called Seiko presented a watch at the Basel Fair that did something no wristwatch had ever done before. It kept time to within 5 seconds per day, powered by a battery, regulated by a quartz crystal vibrating at exactly 32,768 times per second. The watch was called the Astron. It cost $450, which was approximately the price of a small car in Japan at the time. Seiko priced it at the equivalent of a luxury object because they knew what they had built. They had built an instrument that kept better time than any mechanical watch ever produced at any price. The Swiss watch industry looked at the Astron and understood what was coming. Within a decade, tens of thousands of Swiss watchmakers had lost their jobs. Factories had closed. Brands that had been making mechanical watches for 100 years simply ceased to exist. The event is called the Quartz Crisis, and the question it raised in 1969 has never been satisfactorily answered by the people who sell you mechanical watches today, which is why this video exists. The question is this: if a quartz movement keeps better time than a mechanical movement at every price point, in every condition, at a fraction of the cost to manufacture and maintain, why does the watch industry charge more for the inferior timekeeping instrument? And more importantly, what are the watch experts getting wrong when they answer that question? The wrong answer, the one that dominates watch media, collector forums, and boutique sales pitches, sounds like this. A mechanical watch is a marvel of human ingenuity. Hundreds of components, gears, springs, levers, all working together without a battery, powered by the motion of your wrist. It is a living object. It has a heartbeat. Quartz is dead technology. Mechanical is art. That answer is wrong, not because it is false, but because it is incomplete in a way that happens to benefit the people selling the more expensive object. The truth about the mechanical versus quartz debate has several layers, and most watch experts only discuss one of them. We are going to go through all of them. The first layer is the one most people argue about, and it is the one where quartz wins so completely that the watch industry has spent 50 years trying to make it seem like a secondary concern. Timekeeping accuracy. The COSC is the Contrôle Officiel Suisse des Chronomètres, the body that certifies Swiss mechanical watch movements as chronometers. To receive COSC certification, a mechanical movement must be tested for 15 days across 5 positions and 3 temperatures, and its average daily rate must fall between -4 and +6 seconds per day. That is the official benchmark for a certified Swiss chronometer, -4 to +6 seconds per day. A standard quartz watch, a $50 Casio F91W, keeps time to within approximately 15 seconds per month, which works out to roughly half a second per day. The $50 Casio keeps better time than the COSC certified movement inside a $5,000 Swiss chronograph. That is not an editorial opinion, it is a mathematical fact that the COSC's own standard makes unavoidable. The COSC was so aware of this problem that they created a separate certification standard for quartz movements, requiring certified quartz to achieve accuracy of ±0.07 seconds per day at room temperature. The COSC quartz standard is approximately 100 times more demanding than the COSC mechanical standard, because even the institutional body that defines Swiss watch accuracy acknowledges that quartz accuracy operates in a completely different dimension from mechanical accuracy. Then there is Citizens Caliber 0100, and this is where the gap between the two technologies becomes so large that the watch industry simply stops talking about it. Citizen introduced the Caliber 0100 in 2018, powered by light through their EcoDrive solar technology, regulated by an AT-cut quartz crystal oscillator vibrating at 8,388,608 times per second. That is 256 times faster than the standard quartz oscillator vibrating at 32,768 Hz. The resulting accuracy is ±1 second per year, not per day, per year. Rolex, whose in-house movements are among the most precisely adjusted mechanical calibers in serial production, guarantees their watches to ±2 seconds per day. The Citizen Caliber 0100 is more accurate than the finest Rolex mechanical movement by a factor of approximately 730. It is powered by light. It requires no service. It costs a fraction of what a Rolex costs to maintain. The watch media covered the Caliber 0100's announcement, acknowledged the achievement, and then returned to discussing mechanical watches because the Caliber 0100 makes the accuracy argument for mechanical watchmaking not just difficult, but impossible, and the watch media knows which side its advertising revenue comes from. Here is the second layer, and this is where the watch experts who argue for mechanical movements are not wrong, they are simply arguing past the point. The mechanical watch is not an instrument for telling time in the way that a quartz watch is an instrument for telling time. It is a mechanical object of a specific and extraordinary kind, and judging it against Quartz on accuracy grounds alone is like judging a painting against a photograph on the grounds of representational fidelity. The photograph wins that contest every time, and the contest is not the point. What a fine mechanical movement represents is the application of human precision to a miniaturized mechanical system with hundreds of interacting components, each one finished to tolerances measured in microns, assembled by hand in a sequence requiring skills that take years to develop, producing an object that will continue functioning without external power input for as long as it is properly maintained. That is a genuine achievement, the Patek Philippe perpetual calendar movement that automatically tracks the irregular lengths of months and leap years across a 4-year cycle, accounting for every variation without any external input, is a demonstration of human problem-solving in mechanical form that the Citizen Caliber 0100, however accurate, does not provide. The Lange Datagraph flyback chronograph, with its column wheel mechanism and manually wound caliber hand-finished in Glasschütte, is not trying to tell time more accurately than a quartz movement. It is doing something different. The mistake the watch expert makes is framing the mechanical watch as a better timekeeping instrument, when what it actually is, in its finest expressions, is a different category of object entirely. The third layer is the one nobody discusses honestly, because it requires acknowledging something that the luxury watch industry has a direct financial interest in obscuring. Most mechanical watches sold in the world today, the vast majority by volume at every price point from $200 to $20,000, are not fine mechanical objects of the kind described above. They are production line assembled watches using movements sourced from external suppliers at commodity prices, finished to commercial tolerances, keeping time to between 5 and 15 seconds per day in the conditions of real daily wear. They are worse at timekeeping than a $50 Casio. They require a service costing hundreds of dollars every 5 to 10 years. They are sensitive to magnetic fields in a way that quartz movements are not, meaning that proximity to a magnetic clasp, a laptop, a speaker, or an MRI machine can significantly degrade their accuracy without the wearer being aware of it, until they compare the time against their phone and discover the watch is running slow. They are sensitive to gravity in a way that quartz movements are not, which is why COSC tests mechanical movements in 5 different positions, because the rate of a mechanical movement changes depending on whether the watch is lying face up, face down, crown down, or crown left. A quartz movement does not care which way it is pointing. The quartz crystal vibrates at 32,768 Hz, regardless of the position of the watch on the wrist. The mainspring in a mechanical movement tightens and loosens its pull on the gear train as the watch moves through different orientations, producing measurably different rates that the watchmaker adjusts through the regulation process and that drift apart again as the lubricants age and the movement accumulates wear. Telling a buyer that a mid-tier mechanical watch is a superior instrument to a quartz watch is not just incomplete, it is false in every practical dimension that matters for a watch worn in daily life. The fourth layer is where the honest conversation about what a mechanical watch is worth should happen, and almost never does. The spring drive is the cleanest illustration of why the distinction matters. Seiko developed the spring drive over decades of engineering work, introducing it commercially in 1999 and refining it continuously since. The spring drive is not a mechanical watch. It is not a quartz watch. It uses a mechanical mainspring as its power source, which is wound by hand or by an automatic rotor and which powers the gear train exactly as in a conventional mechanical movement. What regulates its rate is not a balance wheel with a hairspring, which is the heart of every conventional mechanical movement, but a glide wheel whose rotation is regulated by an electromagnetic brake controlled by a quartz oscillator integrated into the circuit. The mainspring provides power. The quartz circuit provides regulation. The result is a movement that achieves accuracy of approximately plus or minus 10 seconds per month, which is dramatically better than any COSC certified mechanical movement, and dramatically worse than any standard quartz, landing in a specific middle territory that no pure technology can occupy. The spring drive's accuracy is roughly 50 times better than a conventional mechanical movement and roughly 30 times worse than a conventional quartz. It is the most honest answer to the question of what happens when you apply precision engineering to the specific problem of making mechanical power sources more accurate, and the answer is, you get something genuinely interesting and genuinely different that is not trying to win either competition. Grand Seiko produces the finest spring drive movements, finishing them to standards the horological community places alongside Geneva Haute Horlogerie, in watches retailing between $4,000 and $30,000, whose accuracy specification sits precisely between the two technologies they incorporate. Nobody who owns a Grand Seiko spring drive bought it because it keeps better time than a Casio. They bought it because what it does is what no other object in the world does, and the doing of it is worth examining. The fifth layer is the practical one that nobody who sells watches wants to discuss, because it concerns money rather than craft. The total cost of ownership of a mechanical watch over a 20-year period is significantly higher than the total cost of a quartz watch performing the same function. A mechanical watch requiring service every 7 years at an average authorized service center, cost of $600 to $1,000 across 3 service intervals over 20 years, adds between $1,800 and $3,000 to the purchase price over the ownership period, before accounting for any repairs arising from damage. A quartz watch requiring battery replacements every 3 to 5 years at a cost of under $20 across 5 to 7 replacement intervals over 20 years adds under $140 to the purchase price over the same period. The mechanical watch at $2,000 retail costs between $3,800 and $5,000 over 20 years of ownership. The quartz watch at $500 retail costs between $640 and $640 over the same period. If the function being purchased is timekeeping, the quartz watch delivers it more accurately at lower total cost. If the function being purchased is something else, the mechanical watch may be worth every dollar of the total cost. But the something else needs to be named honestly and purchased deliberately, not obscured behind claims of superiority that the numbers do not support. The sixth layer is the one that most directly contradicts what the luxury watch media consistently presents, and it requires stating plainly. The quartz crisis of the 1970s was not resolved, it was redirected. The Swiss watch industry did not solve the problem that Seiko's Astron created in 1969, which is that a cheap electronic component produces more accurate timekeeping than 3 centuries of accumulated mechanical watchmaking craft. What the Swiss industry did was successfully reframe mechanical watchmaking as a luxury experience category whose value is independent of timekeeping accuracy, and then extend that reframing to cover watches at price points where the luxury experience argument is much harder to sustain. The Patek Philippe perpetual calendar at $50,000 is a legitimate luxury experience. The movement architecture is genuine. The finishing is genuine. The historical depth is genuine. The Sellita-sourced mechanical movement in a watch retailing at $2,000 and marketed with the same vocabulary of craft and heritage is not a legitimate luxury experience. It is a factory-produced timekeeping instrument that keeps worse time than a battery sold at a checkout counter. The distinction between those two categories is what the watch media consistently fails to make, because making it clearly would require acknowledging that the majority of the mechanical watch market at the mid-tier is not selling what its marketing claims to sell. Here is what the honest answer to the mechanical versus quartz debate sounds like. Quartz movements are better at telling time, they are cheaper to buy and to maintain, they are less sensitive to environmental conditions, they are more reliable under daily wear. If you need a timekeeping instrument, buy quartz. The finest quartz movements available, the Citizen Caliber 0100, the Seiko 9F, the Grand Seiko quartz references, are extraordinary engineering achievements that the watch industry undervalues because they cannot be positioned as expensive in the way mechanical complications can. If what you want is a mechanical object of genuine craft significance, a movement that you can observe operating, that contains engineering decisions made by human beings whose names you can look up, that will outlast you if properly maintained, that demonstrates what precision manufacturing can accomplish at the miniaturized scale of a wristwatch, then buy mechanical. But buy it at the level where that description is true. The Patek Philippe, the A. Lange & Söhne, the FP Journe, the Grand Seiko Snowflake, the watches where the movement justifies the description, not the Sellita clone in the $1,000 case with the heritage story that the brand's marketing team wrote on a Tuesday afternoon. The watch experts get the mechanical versus quartz debate wrong because they present it as a question with a single answer when it is actually 2 separate questions that most buyers conflate. The question of which technology is more accurate has an unambiguous answer: quartz, by a margin that no mechanical improvement has closed or is likely to close within the physics of gear trains and balance wheels. The question of which category of object is worth spending money on has an answer that depends entirely on what you are trying to own. The mistake is letting the industry's marketing conflate those 2 questions, sell you an answer to the second while implying it is also the answer to the first, and charge you for a timekeeping performance it cannot deliver. The quartz crystal in your $50 Casio vibrates 32,768 times every second. It does not care what the boutique salesperson said about heritage. It is keeping better time than the $5,000 watch on the shelf next to it. That information has been available since 1969. Most people buying mechanical watches today still do not know it. The industry has spent 50 years and several $billion of advertising making sure they did not have to find out.